Hey folks, welcome back to the RC bench. You can see I got a new toy sitting here that I put together already. I didn't video any of it, no point. Don't think I could do a build series, but that's not what today's video is about. Anybody who knows RC should be able to recognize at least the brand of it, but that'll be for another video. Sorry about that, cats being silly. But what I'm actually working on today, not the bike either, so let's get that out of the way. Find a home for it, maybe, where the cats don't wreck it. Sorry for getting in the way. I'll just stick it over to the side here. I can get on the stand, there we go. What I'm working on today is my radio. Now there's a bunch of videos about these mods that I'm going to do already, so this isn't necessarily a how to do it. Like all my videos, it's just me working on my stuff. What I have planned for today, there's two things. First is, let's see if I got it here. There it is. I was in the city and I picked up a new LiPo. It's a 1050 3-cell pack. I think these are made by Gen Z, so even though it says tattoo or however you pronounce it, but I'm going to convert my cheap radio over to a LiPo pack. Now it's not going to be a drop-in fit, and you got to watch when you do this. You got to make sure to monitor your voltage. I might throw in a LiPo alarm at some point, but for now I'll just be careful. So that, in order to do that, I got to get the old pack out. Sorry, the battery's out. And this piece does not come out like some radios. It looks like this will fit nice depth wise. I was worried about the depth, but like I was saying, this tray doesn't come out like some radios. You have to actually pull the radio apart. And since I'm going to have the radio apart, I'm going to do one other mod for now. Can't do the firmware, I'm still waiting for my programmer, but I did order from DigiKey. I know there's a guy that sells these online or something, but they're a lot cheaper just to get it straight from DigiKey. And I got two of them. I don't know if my camera will focus. If you can see that. Can you see that? What this is a voltage regulator, and it's actually a switching voltage regulator. So it'll take, I can't remember the specs, a minimum of 8 volts, 8 to 28 or something along that line, and this guy is a 5-volt out regulator. So when we say, there's videos that show this online, but there's a voltage regulator in here already, and it's the old school LM7805 linear regulator, and they're not very efficient, and it burns up the battery pack awfully quick. So if you switch it for one of these switching regulators, you can double your battery life. So between doing that and using this LiPo, this thing should have a really good battery life. Now you gotta be willing to bust open your radio to do this. So that's what I am going to do. Now, like I say, this isn't a video show, a how-to video. I learned about this by looking on YouTube, so I'm definitely not the first person to do this. There's another mod to do for reliability. So there's a bearing in the back side of here, or there's a plastic bushing, and a lot of people replace it with a bearing. So I might do that as well if once I have it open, if I have a bearing that will fit. Otherwise it'll have to wait. Now, from what I understand, there's some clips underneath that can have a tendency of breaking off if you're not careful. So I'm sure I'll break them off. Why I'm using a screwdriver when I have plastic spudgers somewhere that I forgot I had. It's beyond me. Let's find them. See if this guy will work. In like Flynn. There's what the radio looks like on the inside. And chip that on the back side, and lo and behold, and all the parts fall out. What we're looking at to change, sorry if the lighting is crappy, this guy right here. I don't know if I can get in close enough for you to be able to see it, but that's the guy that's getting changed out. And if I grab my glasses so I can see, it's going to confirm it is indeed a 7805. And if I recall, I'll have to check online. This module should be pin for pin replacement for this guy. It is indeed some off-brand CJ78M05. So now I got to get that guy out and get this guy in. So I'm going to look on the internet and make sure that that's the right pin out before I do anything. And I'm going to cut this guy loose. Okay, well, I went on the internet and I confirmed what I already kind of knew, that it is indeed pin for pin the same going across. So all you got to do is take this guy out and put this guy in, and I think what some guys do is put it on their side, but I'm going to double check and see, but I'm pretty sure there's enough room to just mount it straight down on the board. Now, another thing I noticed, I'm not too happy about, but what do you expect, is the there's power leads for the LCD, I think, on the back side. I don't know if you can see. Let's see if I can get you focused or lined up. They come up underneath the board and they're jammed right up against the module, and this module is mounted real cattywampus. So I might try to do something about that. And so those power leads could be, they did put a Kapton tape on the back side, but it just seems kind of silly to mount it that way. But what do you expect, I guess, for it's always a roll of the dice with made in China stuff. Now the easiest way to get these out, if you don't want to save it, and I'm not worried about saving this, these are a dime a dozen, is I'm going to actually, if I can zoom you in, maybe you can see a bit better. Maybe I can get you rotated a bit instead of, there we go, maybe that's better, as long as I remember to keep you in frame here. Look at the viewfinder once in a while, I guess. But easiest way to get this out is to just snip the leads. I guess I could save this if I wanted to. I'll throw it in my junk bin, but snip the leads off. And these little flush cutters are nice to have. So now that the leads are snipped, you can get on the back side. Well, you know what? Can't get to the back side here, so I'm have to. Oh boy. I may just have to mount it like this after all and bring the wires up. That's got to be why people did it. So don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm doing here, I guess. But because the LCD has to be pulled off to get to the back side, and yeah, pulling that off is not gonna happen. I got some wires that I'll use. It's not going to be the way I want it to do it, but it'll work. So what I'm going to do is fasten this guy on, and I think I'll just use a touch of CA and stick her onto the circuit board. I could use shoe goo or goop or something, but I'm going to be a little bit impatient. So, and then hope it works, or else I'll have a hard time getting it off the board. There we go. This is the glue I use. I don't buy the expensive, overpriced hobby store CA glue. I can get this for a lot cheaper. Same stuff, unless you're talking about the tire glue, and it has additives. So let's just stick that down. I'm going to hold it for a second. And I'm going to cut these guys flush, I'm thinking. Then I can solder directly onto the pads. There, it's in place. I'm just going to get a little bit of my zip kicker. Make sure that all the glue is set up so I don't glue my fingers to it. That's on there good and solid. Now I'm just going to open up my wire drawer and get some wire out that I can use. I'm going to use some of this red stuff because this stuff is a Teflon wire of some kind. Now we just got to go pin for pin. Bend these down, and I think I'll work from the outside in. You know, I'm actually thinking I'm not even going to use this wire. I am going to use some solid wire. Might make it a little easier. Let me go see if I can find it. Well, I thought I had some solid core stuff, but I don't. Just zoom me out again a bit. I'm just going to use this wire, and I will just tin it and then cut it off, and then use it to attach to the board. Improvising as I go, so bear with me, folks. I always use this no clean flux, even though the solder has flux in it. I find it's quicker to get the solder to flow into the wire. Then you don't get the issue of solder creep up the insulation. So there, I've got a little bit of it tinned. I can just run it down to the board and solder it on from the pad to the unit. Sure hope this works, because I'm in with both feet. Don't see why it wouldn't, but I'm actually going to tin those pads as well. I'll clean up all, even though it's a no clean flux, no need to clean it, I'm still going to clean it up after. Make it look a little bit nicer. is not up to my normal standards, I would say, but I was thinking I'd be able to just go to the back side of that darn voltage regulator, but it's not the way she's going to work out. It's got to be able to adapt. This will work just fine. Say it's not pretty. Focus. But it'll get the job done. I'm going to finish up the other two and then we'll get on to the battery side of it. Okay, I got the wires all hooked up and cleaned up. Looks like it should work, but better put some batteries in the radio and make sure before we continue on. If you hear rustling in the background, that's my son. He brought us out some treats to eat. See if she blows up or not. I hope not. If this works, we'll continue on with the second part, putting the other battery in. Oh. I have a good feeling about it working, as long as I put the batteries in the right way. Okay folks, power on. Now it won't work unless you plug the wires into the board, I guess, huh? Had me worried. Pretty sure that's the battery wire. Okay, take two. Jackpot, it works. .3 volts. Perfect. Okay, let's get the LiPo in next. Disconnect that and get the batteries out. Now we gotta tear it apart and get this whole, you can't see what I'm doing. Get this whole tray out of the way. So I will do that next, and I'll just, as I do it, you can watch along. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the radio back together. So I only need to really get to the bottom side. I'm going to have to cut this wire and attach it to the new battery in some way, the connector. But I can do all that from the bottom side. So I'm going to plug all this back in. Let's see, which is channel 1. Channel 1 and channel 2. I don't want to rip the antenna wire off. I'm risking that happening if I work on it the way it is. So we'll put this back together safe and sound and then find out the regulator doesn't fit, but it does. Clean the screen. Just going to use some isopropyl alcohol. Then we'll drop the top on, actually, and I'll just put a couple screws in. I don't know if I'll actually put the screws in, because I think you gotta split this case to get it apart. But okay, yeah, there we go. Pretty triple check I got all the screws out. I don't. Got the one in the handle yet to do. And there you have it. Battery holder out. Let's snip it off. So I guess I can put the rest or the screws all back in. So they don't get lost. And then I'll show you, I'll get these screws back in and I'll show you what connector I'm going to use. Alright, I've got the screws all back in, put them in carefully so I didn't strip. And what I'm going to use for connectors are some XT30 connectors. Or should I use an XT60, since most of my packs, if I use an XT60 connector, this one's already got one on it. Problem is I'm a little short of the XT60, what is it, the female side or male side? I can't remember which is considered which, so I think I'll swap out to the XT30s. I'm waffling. What I should do is order up some of the connectors I need, because the XT, I got a boatload of that end, but it's the other end that I need, because they're the speed controller sides that I use, and I really don't think I have any left. I'm gonna try out. This battery is gonna be always in this radio, so let's stick with what's on here. Or in fact, there might be another option. Maybe. If I have an end that I can plug that into. I don't. Oh. This might be the option I take. I think I do. I've got these ends. Good old eBay. Are they the right ones? Sure are. So I'm going to use this end on the wire. You just got to make sure you get the proper positive and negative to get the voltage you need. That way I can leave this guy on, and I could use this battery for something else if I really wanted to. So that works out good. So let's get that connected. I'll have to make sure and insulate, or cut off the pins, insulate them. Get trusty old multimeter out. That'll save me a lot of hassle trying to, I don't have to cut that end off or anything like that. It's good to have all these different types of bits and pieces in your RC hoard. They come in handy. I ordered those, I don't even know. It's been quite a while ago. This will be the first time I've used them. Okay, go figure. Red is negative. So the red is the negative side, and the three blacks are the positives to each battery. So if you're looking at this, let's see, the way this battery is wired, the red guy is the negative, and these are the three taps for the positive sides. Not sure why they did it like that, but they did it like that. I can work with that. I'm gonna find a Sharpie. I don't need a Sharpie, never mind. I'm waffling, babbling. I'm gonna get this hooked up and I'll show you the final result. Okay folks, well, I'm not sure what the heck was going on. I was measuring wrong. I'm an idiot sometimes, but the red is indeed the positive. What I was doing, I'm not sure. And the connector's even labeled P, A, B, and C on it. Yeah. Boy, that would have been not good, but okay, well, say, don't believe everything you hear on the internet, folks. All right, got her all hooked up, and there's actually a side benefit, I think, to or a benefit to using that balance plug on the radio, in that I could use any 3-cell pack with that style balance plug in this radio if I was in a pinch. So I could put a big pack in here, like for example, heck, this 2100 almost fits. So I bet the where are they? She's puffed up. Oh boy, she's ever puffed up. This one's shot. Yeah, see, it's way too puffy, but certain packs that would probably fit in here. Let me just look, I'm curious now. For example, that's only a 2-cell. That is a 2-cell. I have them all stashed in my drawer, in my toolbox. But yeah, any 2-cell pack would fit, or 3-cell pack would fit. Now, it's a moment of truth. Plug her in. Fold the wires in there. Man, that fits with a ton of space. The depth is good. I'll have to find some foam. But I betcha she'll work just fine now. Rock and roll. So there you have it. 11.6. This battery needs to be charged because it's fresh out of the package. But she's working a treat. I see I got some moisture still in there, I think alcohol. That should clear out after a while. But yeah, I'm happy with that result. What I did was put some heat shrink over here just as a boot, so even though I clipped those center 2 pins, keeps anything from hitting that. So I'm going to charge this up and call her good, and then I'll see, might work on something else and create another video yet today. But so keep an eye out for some more ongoing adventures from my RC bench. Until then, take care and talk to you later.